Sci-Fi Invasion. I'm your host, Joey Hollywood, and I'm trying to get through all 50 movies in this Sci-Fi Classics box set from Mill Creek in 50 weeks. The movie I watched today was called Gamera, the Invincible. So last week I covered a Gamera movie, and I did not know that was a Gamera movie until like 20, 30 minutes in. Basically, once Gamera showed up, I realized what I was watching. This one, I knew from the start that it was a Gamera movie, and that means the Sci-Fi Classics box set delivered on the cover, which is more than I can say about the last box set I covered on this channel. Yeah, nothing on that cover was in the movie. But, yeah, so I got to watch the first Gamera movie. This is my favorite Gamera movie of the Showa era, just from what I can remember. It takes itself a little bit more seriously than the later ones, for sure. I think the black and white works really well for kaiju movies. I've always liked it. The look of the original Godzilla looks far superior than some of the later Showa Godzilla movies. This version of Gamera, the first movie, is the American version, which has American actors injected into the film and a lot of the Japanese stuff, character stuff, taken out. Now, I do have the original Gamera film here, and I have seen it before, but I don't remember. And like I said in the last video, I prefer the American versions of a lot of kaiju movies. This particular film, Gamera the Invincible, I actually think the American inserts work better than the American inserts in Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Because in Godzilla, King of the Monsters, you have Raymond Burr, who's placed into the film as like a foreign reporter. And you have a lot of really creative scenes between Raymond Burr and the Japanese actors. They got really creative with the editing of injecting him into scenes where he's not in. It's a really cool look. If you like editing, it's a really cool looking movie. But despite that praise, the creativeness of how they injected him into the film, I feel like his inclusion in the movie is very distracting. It doesn't feel immersive. It feels out of place. Despite how interesting and creative it is, I don't think it works too well. However, the American inserts in Gamera work a lot. It's actually a very funny movie. There's a lot of scenes of American ambassadors and Japanese ambassadors talking back and forth, and a lot of these scenes move the plot forward, and it adds kind of a satirical nature to the film. I think the Americans really got that this was kind of a more funny movie because it has a giant flying turtle in it. And there's actually one of my favorite scenes in it. They cut to an American or British program where they have two guys arguing. It was kind of like back in the day when they would have a liberal and a conservative debate on TV, but it's kind of like that. And one of them is named Mr. or Dr. Contraire, and this guy is the contrarian. And it's so blunt, and it's just silly. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie. I think this is a pretty good American version of a Japanese property. I know that's not a thing a lot of people like to admit to. I like this weird time of dubbing movies and bringing them to America and trying to localize them. I like that kind of stuff. So this was a real treat for me. This is probably my first time seeing this movie in a long time, because the last time I watched it, it was the Japanese version, which I also like. But I enjoyed this one. I would say this is not a bad movie. This is a good movie. No matter how you watch the first Gamera film. I think it's good. I don't think it's bad. This is not so bad it's good. This is so good it's good. Watch it. Watch it on your own. Watch it with friends. I give this one all the praise. I love this movie. And if you like Gamera, and you've only ever seen the stuff on Mystery Science Theater or the old Showa stuff, the really old ones, I'm telling you, check out the stuff from the 90s. The Gamera trilogy from the 90s is actually fantastic. Some of the best special effects in a kaiju movie ever. This stuff gives Godzilla a run for his money. I also have Gamera the Brave, which it's fine. This one goes back to the more kiddie roots, but it is kind of a loose sequel to these. That's why I own it. But yeah, the main Gamera trilogy from the 90s, it rocks. But yeah, that's all I have to say for now. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next week. Remember, please be kind and rewind.